All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back. So the Stephen Thompson and Michel Pereira fight is off after UFC 291 weight miss from Pereira, and we're going to talk about it, and here's exactly why. Because I have already heard a bunch of people giving ridiculous takes on this. I'm going to tell you the real reason that Stephen Thompson pulled out, and we're going to talk about who's at fault here, whether or not it's reasonable to have expected Stephen Wonderboy Thompson to take this fight. It's only 3 pounds, dude. It's only 3 pounds. He's 40 years old, right? So we're going to talk about whether or not he made the right decision, whether or not, we're just going to talk about the entire thing, right? Because, like I said, I see a lot of bad takes on this already. A lot of really bad takes, in my opinion. So before we get started, though, if you don't mind subscribing to the channel, if you haven't yet, that would be incredible. Also, for my longtime subscribers, people who miss Jesse on Everything, I launched memberships today. I put up 2 super long Jesse on Everything videos that are now in my membership section on this channel. That's what we're going to do now. I'm going to put them up all the time. That is the final answer because I could post very easily. I could do a 10-minute video, boom, upload it, super easy. Don't have to worry about thumbnails, nothing. The memberships are now available, and there's already content there, and I don't have to worry about people flagging that content, etc. So if you're interested, go ahead and join the membership and check it out. I'm going to do a lot of MMA content there too. All right, so let's talk about this thing. All right, so bottom line, right? Let's just go through this really quick, right? So Megan Olivi announced cancellation of Friday's bout. News comes after Pereira missed weight at the official weigh-ins. Pereira weighed 174 pounds, okay? So it's a 3-pound weight miss, but he's 174 pounds, okay? He's a big dude. Okay, he's a big guy. Now, I told you guys, I mean, I don't know, like, sometimes I think this is ridiculous. I act like everybody's seen every single one of my videos. But if you haven't seen all of my videos, I have talked about before at UFC 270, he fought on that card, and he was at Fighter Hotel where I was at after the fights. His whole crew was at the bar where I was at. I was very, very close to him. I didn't interact with him at all, but I've seen him in person. He's not as big as I expected. But only because on TV, he looks enormous, right? He looks absolutely enormous. And like Kevin Holland is I don't know how the hell that guy made 170. I don't understand that at all. Same time, I don't understand how Pereira, the other Pereira used to make middleweight, Poatan. But nonetheless, he's a huge welterweight. And, he didn't make weight, dude. 174. Like, that's not a small miss, dude. 3 pounds? 3 pounds? I mean, I realize people are just like, dude, it's 3 pounds. It's like, and you know who would never say that? You know who would never say it's 3 pounds? Anyone who's ever had to make weight for anything. 3 pounds is a huge miss, dude. Like, it's a big miss. It's like sometimes, you have these fluky things. Anyway, whatever. Bottom line is that's a big miss. That's completely on him that he missed weight. But now you got Stephen Thompson. You're on the main card. You are on the main. You're one of the primary fights people are excited to see. And you're coming off a really impressive victory. Do you take the fight? Okay. So the take that I've been seeing from a lot of people, which is wrong in my opinion, and I'll tell you, I'll tell you the exact flip side, which is why, the real reason why Stephen Thompson did not take this fight. People are saying, dude, Stephen Thompson is 40 years old. He can't afford to have times where he does camp and then he doesn't actually fight. Like, he needs this fight. It's crazy for him to not take it over 3 pounds. Like, he should just take the fight. It's only 3 pounds. It's not going to make a difference. They're not going to grapple anyway. Blah, 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 blah. Like, they're saying that, like, Stephen Thompson is to blame here. Like, Stephen Thompson blew it. He's letting down the fans. He's letting down himself. He's being unreasonable, whatever. Get out of here with that, dude. Get out of here with that. That is wrong. That's just wrong. It's not, no, that's not correct. And I'll tell you, first of all, just from a baseline perspective, if a guy misses weight, okay, now look, if a guy misses weight by a half a pound, a half-pound miss where there's a scenario where you could even be like, dude, your scale was messed up, like the Charles Oliveira one, right? The Charles Oliveira against Justin Gaethje at UFC 274. And I was at that hotel also, right? And where the margin of error, there's like a conversation we had. It's like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. We're like, I don't know if I don't know how much you guys have watched my content, but at UFC 274, when the Charles Oliveira thing happened, Gabi and I had just gotten to the hotel. We were checking in at Fighter Hotel. We got into the elevator. went up. We were going up to our room, whatever. The weigh-ins were on the second floor. And so we stopped at the second floor and picked someone up. It was a UFC employee, vest on, all that stuff. And we had just found out, like, as I was checking in, I found out that Charles missed weight. And I was like, oh my God, he missed weight. Like, Gabrielle doesn't know what the fuck. Like, she doesn't realize how big of a deal it was. But the guy got in, and so he got on, and I was like, dude, I heard Charles missed weight. He's all, yeah, dude. He's like, I was with him. The guy who was on the elevator with us was the guy who shadowed Charles during the hour that he had to try to drop that last half pound or whatever. It's like he's over by a half a pound, and then this guy fall. And he said he had been fully convinced by Charles's team that the scale was off. There was something wrong with the scale. And so he even said, the UFC employee, I mean, not like he would know for sure, but he said there's something up with the scale. So that is a very different weight miss. It's only a half a pound. There's potentially something wrong with the scale. To not take that fight, that would be, I mean, even if it wasn't a title fight, that would be super bitch made, dude. Like, you'd be like, are you serious? But this ain't that, dude, right? This is a full throttle, 3 pound, 4 pound weight miss. And going back to, Stephen Thompson being 40 years old, because that's the best place to start, because I understand the conversation, right? It's like, he's 40 years old. He needs this fight. It's like, right. Can you think of anything else that's important about him being 40 years old as it relates to this decision? I mean, he's running out of time. Okay. That's one way to put it, right? What else does his age bring into picture here when it comes to this? Why else is that important? Right? Because it's a pretty simple answer, dude. Pretty simple answer. He can't afford to lose. Okay? He's 40. He cannot afford a loss. He's coming off of an incredibly impressive victory, right? And let me just show you that, like, just so we put this in perspective, dude. Okay? You guys are all educated. Like, believe me, I try not to ever patronize any, when I'm doing these videos, because I know most of you guys are super well-informed fans. And so, look it. Okay? These are his most, like, this is his, this is his record in the recent past. Okay. He beat the brakes off Kevin Holland in incredible performance. He lost to Bilal Muhammad, lost to Gilbert Burns, got taken down though, wasn't showing his age or anything. Geoff Neal, he wins. Luque, he wins. Pettis, he got knocked out with that flying punch that was kind of weird. And then Darren Till was that very, very close decision here. George Masvidal. I mean, listen, like now you're back in 2017. The ones that matter here are 2019 and on, as far as I'm concerned, right? So he gets 2 wins, 2 losses, and now he's got Kevin Holland. This is his last chance, dude. This is his last chance, okay? This guy lives clean. This guy fights clean. This guy is a dude where he might be 40 years old, but he is a young 40 years old. And so there absolutely is a scenario where he could make a run at the title, but not if he loses. If he loses, this is a wrap for him. Absolutely, for sure. For 100%, if he loses here, there is no scenario where he gets back to the belt. None. If he wins here, coming off of the fight that he had with Kevin Holland, I'm not saying he gets an immediate title shot, obviously. But if he did knock out Michel Pereira, he got another notable win where he knocked someone out, he is then at least potentially 1 fight from the title. Okay? Now, he could do that. He could do those 2 fights in this year, right? He could do both. Like, if, beats Michel Pereira, fights again by the end of the year, gets 2 knockouts, and then he's looking at 1 more fight where if he wins that one, he could get a title shot. It could happen. Okay? But he is all in right now. He cannot lose. He absolutely cannot lose under any circumstances. And so to expect him to just just take the fight, no. If he feels like he wants to take the fight, good for him. I would not recommend that he didn't. I absolutely would not. But the stakes of this decision are way too high for anyone to be second guessing him if he decides he doesn't want to take the fight because his opponent is 4 pounds heavier than him. It's Pereira's fault, dude. Bottom line. There's no conversation here. Anyone calling, Stephen Thompson's a pussy, shut up, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about if that's what you think. He made, honestly, whichever decision he made is the right decision. Because it's completely up to him. Pereira blew it. I will say this, though. It's a good indication of his financial situation. You know what I mean? It's a good indication of his financial situation. Like stuff like this, it's a very good indicator of where people are at financially, right? Now, obviously, young fighters, they're gonna do what they have to do. But a guy who's 40 years old, has had some big fights like Stephen Thompson, you know, you're curious, like, has he saved his beans? How's he looking financially? The fact that he did not take this fight is a good sign for him, I would say. You know, but that doesn't necessarily mean that for sure. I just think, why should he give a guy an advantage? Why on earth should he give a guy an advantage? Makes no sense. So I want to defend his decision. I want to tell everybody that is questioning his decision that they should not be doing that. And now I would assume that they will probably reschedule this fight, right? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what, like, do they usually do that? Like if a guy misses weight and then I don't even know if they reschedule. Whatever. Bottom line is, I'm going to root for Michel Pereira to get beat up in his next fight, and I'm going to root for Stephen Thompson to beat someone up. So if they fight each other, I will certainly be rooting for, you know, Stephen Thompson to beat up Michel Pereira. Because this is bullshit. And just to throw this on the end too, right? Like, you know, I already covered, like, I'm defending him making this decision for sure. But now I want to talk about the other part, which is Pereira missing weight. Now, I realize weight cuts are super hard, but it's your only job. And if you miss weight, okay, Stephen Thompson's 40 years old. He just went through an incredibly grueling camp. He went through a weight cut and made weight, and then you didn't. And you now cost him his paycheck. You cost him his fight. You cost him all this time, this entire campus for no reason. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. And everybody should acknowledge that. It's not just about like, oh, you know, he missed weight. It's like, dude, it's bullshit. He fucked over the other guy completely. I mean, shit happens. I mean, I realize people miss weight. I'm not like, you know, but it's super fucked up when people miss weight, dude. It's not a game. Anyway, that's what I got. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Join the membership if you'd like for much, much more content from me. Peace.